Hey, you're watching Half Asian Tarot Queen. I'm Melissa. Happy holidays. It's kind of that crazy time of year. So, anyways, I think I am going to do a reading right now for the full moon. I think it's in Gemini. Ooh, it's just popped out. Okay, so the full moon, which is coming up. Oh my gosh. So this popped out, the crow. So this is all about sort of like the truth coming to light. It's really interesting because, okay, I'm going to show you this. At the bottom of the deck, we have the spiral. So the spiral is all about sort of like recurring circles that happen in life, like patterns, you know. It's just sort of like the people, the places could change, but the pattern will recur in life until you kind of like figure out what the lesson is that you're supposed to learn, and then you kind of graduate from that pattern. But what's really interesting, and I've never noticed this before, but when you look at this bird, okay, so here's the picture of the spiral, right? When you look at the picture of the bird, look at that. The spiral's in there. So it's just like the truth is coming out, and it's like, it's almost like it's like, it's like blowing up this pattern, you know, like whatever this recurring cycle has been, it's just been sort of like, maybe based on like a limiting belief or some mindset that might not be based in truth, you know. So for example, I've used this example a lot, like you could have inherited like a scarcity mindset from like your family or, you know, your circle of influence, and you know, kind of come to the realization that the universe is abundant, and it actually isn't. You know, the scarcity complex is in your mind, and then that kind of blows up that whole pattern, because you sort of like take ownership of it and like, and select a different outcome for yourself, you know. But what's interesting, so there's these 4 cards that fell out with this crow. So the truth coming out, we have magic. So that's really beautiful. Like, you know, there's synchronicity, and like it's all around. It's like it's so interesting because there's all these layers, you know, and you can't even like totally grasp everything. But like it's like you can see all these cogs, like, you know, it looks like cogs, but it could be like a lot of things, you know, but it's like right at this third eye, you know. So, and then we have the drum, which is all about sort of like this natural rhythm that happens in life. And then we have soul retrieval. And soul retrieval is all about sort of like integration and bringing into your energy like some wound that needs to be healed. So for example, if you have this pattern, you know, the scarcity, it's like whenever you hit like a certain situation, you're like, oh, like I can't go any further because, you know, your scarcity complex will start spinning. And then like that energy that's being used to fuel this is like sort of, it's almost like it's being misappropriated. So like with soul retrieval, it's like you take command of your emotions and you reintegrate that energy to use it to fuel, you know, what you're trying to manifest. So it's like, it's almost like an efficiency expert coming in and like harnessing your energy in a better way, you know. So yeah, like this truth is going to fuel this transformation right around the full moon. So that's really interesting. Okay, so I'm going to go to Lightseers. I have a different set of decks today that I'm kind of mixing it up, you know, it's the end of the year and whatnot. Okay, so, oh my God. So I did the split and we got the Ace of Swords. So that's this truth, and it's like fueling this new beginning. Oh my gosh, this just fell out. We got the Knight of Cups. So this message of love coming in. Okay, and then we have strength. So we're going to need strength to move through this moment. When I pick it up, it's just sort of like we have the Hierophant. So this is almost speaking to an ascension event. Like I'm getting that from this card because there's this staircase. And there was a reading the other day about how ascension starts from the inside. So it's like, it's going to take strength to sort of like rewire your processes, you know, towards this better outcome. And we have the Five of Cups and we have the Five of Wands. So this speaks to sort of like loss and conflict. I mean, the Five of Cups is all about, you know, there's three cups being spilled, and then there's like one, you know, 2 cups remaining. So you're supposed to focus on the positive and take what's left and like move forward. But what's weird is that in this deck, the artwork is different. It's like there's 4 cups being, spilled. Though one of them is like manifesting something, and then we have this other one here. So it's just like, it's weird because it's almost like this artwork depicts like what I was talking about how you sort of like rewiring your experience of loss towards a different perception of what's going on, you know. But that's going to cause conflict because not everyone's going to maybe be on board for this. Like this rewiring is going to lead to like sort of like an elevation for someone, and you know, like there might be some resistance to that is what I'm kind of going on. Okay, so I'm pulling out the Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot when I do the split here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we got the Nine of Wands and we got the Ten of Swords. So this is like this wounded warrior. Like this person's been beaten down, bruised, abused, like they've gone through the ringer, you know? And it's like, whatever situation that is, this scarcity complex or, you know, limiting belief, like it's coming to an end. Like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. So like when I picked this up just to show, like underneath was the blade. So this is a card about like truth and clarity coming out, but like what's crazy, it has the cycles of the moon over it, and then there's this full moon right there. So it's just like, whatever this truth is, it's climaxing at the full moon, and it's definitely going to upset the apple cart for sure. So that's interesting. Okay. I might just shuffle these Intuitive Night Goddess and just get it like a couple like on the ground cards just to see what comes out. Oh my gosh. Okay. But this definitely looks like it's going to be like a really impactful full moon for sure. Okay. All right. So we have the Ten of Cups. the card dropped and we got the Warrior of Swords. So this is like the Nine of Swords. The Knight of Swords. So it's almost like this message of truth or clarity is coming in, and it's going to like really elevate someone to like ultimate abundance and happiness. So then we have the Six of Swords. We have the Spirit of Wands, which is like the Knight of Wands. We have the Spirit of Cups. And we have meditation. So this is like moving on from a bad situation to a better situation. And there's like a bold move that's maybe required to make that happen. So like this truth is going to come out, and it's going to trigger some sort of like really almost like this just like jaw-dropping kind of shift, you know. But this person, this is really interesting because we have this Spirit of Cups, which is kind of like the King of Cups, and it's like someone's like manifesting this out of the cup, which is like they're sort of like manifesting from their heart, you know, like and they're creating something with that. And then we have meditation, which is kind of like the Hangman, and it's sort of like taking time to reflect. And I mean, meditation, like, I think it almost has like a little bit different of a bent than the Hangman, but it's almost like it might be a really good moment when all of this comes out, to sort of reflect and like heal and you know, really kind of distance yourself from whatever this pattern is. Like, build into your awareness whatever this is, because it seems like this person is like manifested something really beautiful here, and it's going to elevate them. But like, what I'm getting, like reading between the lines, is that there's going to be like dissent. Like, not everyone's going to be happy that this happened for this one person. So and that's kind of like the triggering sort of situation. Like, in order to not repeat this cycle that you're really trying to elevate from, it's really important to like really take the moment to stop and reflect. And there's going to be some triggering, and it's going to be like testing you to see if you've like learned this lesson, you know, because it's like, if you can like take the moment to reflect and have awareness about what is triggering you, and not sort of get sucked into this spiral of behavior, I mean, that's really what's gonna allow this change to happen. So it's really important, because this is what's on offer, you know. So like, you don't want to like miss out on the opportunity. So really take your time and know that all this is going to go down at the full moon. So just I think having awareness about all of this is going to be really beneficial. Okay, so I've got a couple of decks that I haven't used in a while that I'm going to finish up with. We have Getting into the Vortex, which is kind of like the Law of Attraction deck, but it's more geared towards relationship. So these are kind of based on the teachings of Abraham Hicks. Okay, so I'm going to get this one. It says, I came as an extension of source energy. So the card says, you came as physical extensions of source energy, understanding that you would explore contrast, causing expansion not only for you, but for all that is. You knew that you could find your way back to the resources of your source by feeling your way, and by understanding that the relationship between you and you is not of separateness, but of alignment and resonance. It's just a spam call. We don't have to answer it. When you master the art of allowing your consistent alignment with the source within you, every other relationship will be beneficial and pleasurable. So, wow, that's really interesting, because like, I think that really kind of goes along with what I was saying. You know, it's just like, take the time to reflect, because it's almost like this. If you allow yourself to get triggered and fall back into this spiral, it's like you're almost going to be like enabling like these relationships that are based on an untruth here, you know. And so even though there's going to be conflict, by sort of coming into alignment with what is true, there's going to be conflict initially, but ultimately in the long term, like, I think it's ultimately going to be healing, for these relationships, because the pattern that is in existence right now is like, it's almost like it's dysfunctional and it needs to be healed. So even though it's like hard in the short term, like that's like, I feel like it's an affirmation that like that's what needs to happen. So like, you know, like really take this time, you know, because the answers will be there for you. So just, you know, really try to be thoughtful and like take the moment to reflect. Okay, so when I pull this out, like right at the bottom, this is what comes to me. Rhodonite, number 47. So I'm just going to read it right out of the book because I haven't even looked at this deck in a really long time. Okay. The essential meaning is harmony in relationships, easily connecting with others, generosity, reciprocity, and discovering hidden talents to share with others. All of us have gifts to share and a deep longing to be needed, so open up to partnerships that allow both of you to give and receive. Now is the time for you to reach out and take what is freely offered and to recognize the continual flow of reciprocity between you and the people in your life. Oh my gosh, like this is really interesting because it's almost like what I'm getting, the next step, it's like if you really take the time and reflect and not fall into this spiral of like this codependent pattern, and just like also not, because you've been in this pattern that's maybe been dysfunctional, not kind of close yourself off to what's actually being offered to you from the universe. It's going to upgrade you to this realm of like more functional relationship patterns, like, which is ultimately like super healing. So it's almost like this trick door, you know, like you could go down the path of where you've always gone, but you already know where that's going to go, you know? So it's like really have awareness at this full moon and really reflect. And like when you get triggered, because it seems like that's going to happen, just take that moment to reflect and then heal, you know, like allow this healing to happen, because what's going to transpire if you're able to do that is that it's like almost going to open the door to like a whole new realm of experience in the way that you connect with others. Like instead of just being drained by others, maybe with, for example, like unrealistic expectations, you know, or an imbalance, you know, you're going to connect with people who are sort of like more on your level, you know, and it's going to transform your experience of life. Whoa, this is like a really wild. So this is like a profound healing event. And I think really like there's been this theme of like ascension in the readings, like, you know, leading up to this. And like, I think this is really a critical pillar of that, because in order to ascend, you know, part of that is to be connecting with relationships and people that are going to support you instead of like sort of dragging you down, you know? And that's like the other part of it, because it's like I was, you know, there was the reading that was like ascension starts from within. Like you have to do the work to heal yourself, but then also once you've done that, you have to like connect with people who are of the same ilk, you know, because that's ultimately what's gonna help things to transform. Whoa, Like, I don't know where all that came from, but it was like, that was deep. Okay, so happy full moon, and we'll check in soon with more updates.